Are we actually in the afternoon now? Do we make noon? Good afternoon, everyone. I'm James A. Coos, Fresno County Clerk, Registrar of Voters. I'd like to thank you all for coming out today. Election Day is next Tuesday, November 5th, and we are opening 43 additional vote centers this Saturday to have 53 in-person voting locations and 67 vote by mail drop boxes spread across the county for our voters to go out and return. Exciting, and we expect it to get stronger as we go into election day. We are encouraged that so many Fresno County residents are participating in the election process. We appreciate the enthusiasm of our voters supporting their candidates, propositions, and measures of choice. Their First Amendment rights allow the freedom to wear apparel, show signs of support, and be vocal advocates in most places. There is an exception, however. California law, specifically California Elections Code sections 3195 and 18370, prohibit election activities, advocacy, and display of support for candidates or measures in voting locations or within 100 feet of any place that votes. Prohibited actions include vocal advocacy, wearing materials with candidates' names, likeness, or logo, and the distribution of buttons, stickers, pens, or other materials containing electioneering information. As in-person participation has increased this election, the numbers of persons intentionally or unintentionally bringing in electioneering material to voting locations has increased. Election workers will ask members of the public to remove or cover any electioneering material that is brought into this zone of exclusion. Election workers will not process a voter that is engaged in electioneering activities or wearing visible electioneering material. Refusal to comply with election worker requests will result in the person being asked to leave the facility until the electioneering material is no longer present. Members of the public that refuse to remove electioneering materials, who refuse to leave a voting location when asked, or who threaten election workers, other voters, or the voting location are engaged in election interference and will be reported to our partners with the Fresno County Sheriff and the Fresno County DA.
Thank you, James. Fresno County District Attorney's Office will be assisting our Registrar of Voters, James Coos, in the prosecution of any person or persons who violate the California Election Code during the 2024 season in the County of Fresno. Voting is an important process in our country and one that is both a right and a privilege. Rules are in place for a reason. Campaigning, politicking, and supporting your favorite candidate is also a right and a privilege, but it is not allowed, as James has said, inside or near the polling places. Please be respectful of these laws, as well as other voters and the election staff who have very important work to do during this very important time of the year. Threats to any election official, officer, or worker will not be tolerated. These are crimes for which people can be prosecuted. I want to make this very clear. It is not your First Amendment right to threaten people. Additionally, intimidation of voters or interference with election activities are crimes. Depending on the factual scenarios, some of these actions are misdemeanors, but others are felonies under the law and carry penalties of up to 3 years in jail. We have 5 days left until the election. Be respectful of people in this county who are working to ensure that we have safe and fair election processes for these elections. And if you have to realize, if you have issues with the way elections are run in the state of California, you must write to your assembly person or your state senators. The local officials are following state laws that are passed in Sacramento and have no authority to deviate from those laws. The Fresno County District Attorney's Office Bureau of Investigations and our Public Integrity Unit are ready, willing, and able to assist the Fresno County Sheriff and any other law enforcement agency throughout the county to ensure that every voter has a safe and peaceful place to vote or deposit their ballot, and that every election official, worker, or officer has a safe and peaceful environment to conduct their business. We appreciate and expect full cooperation from everyone in Fresno County. And now Sheriff Zanoni will have a few words.
Thank you, DA Smittcamp. Sheriff John Zanoni. We're talking about elections. We're talking about our right to vote. We, the people of the state of California, the county of Fresno, the city of Fresno, we have the right to cast a vote. We have the right to submit a ballot. And what I want people to think about is, we've talked about the laws. James covered it. Lisa covered the prosecution side of it. Be respectful, be calm, and be understanding. We're all there to cast our vote, to exercise our right. We don't want to have to respond and take action against individuals. But as James said, if individuals are going to violate the laws and refuse to leave or threaten poll workers or those individuals working there, and if it's in the county, the Fresno County Sheriff's Office will respond and we will take action. Our job is not to take a political side. Our job is to provide public safety. In this case, we're providing public safety to the election workers and those individuals who are at that polling place trying to legally and lawfully cast their votes. I just want people to take a step back and realize that when you're there to vote, you're there to vote. As far as the signs, the clothing, the hats, leave it in your car. It has no place in the polling place. That is supposed to be a neutral place where people can come and exercise their right to vote. I understand that people are passionate about their various candidates who they support, but at the end of the day, the law is very clear. Within 100 feet or inside the polling place, that type of material, whether you're wearing a hat supporting your favorite candidate, you're wearing a shirt, or you're wearing even a pin on your lapel, it needs to be left in your car and not in the polling place. If the crime occurs within the city of Fresno, then the Fresno Police Department will be dispatched. If it's in one of the rural, unincorporated county areas, the Sheriff's Office will respond and we will take action. We'll work with James and his office, and we work with Lisa and her office to ensure that the law is enforced properly and that cases like this are prosecuted. We have to set the tone, and people have to understand that it's 5 days until election. Let's get it done. Let's be calm. Let's be peaceful, and let's be respectful of other people's opinions that may not be the same as yours when it comes to the candidates that you're supporting. Thank you.
Thank you, John and Lisa. Are there any questions?
James, could you clarify exactly what is prohibited? Is it merely, for example, a Make America Great Again hat, or is it a MAGA hat that says Donald Trump?
So under California law, and it's a California Elections Code 319.5 and 18370 are these codes are specifically dealing with electioneering. We're going to be looking at names of candidates, the images or depiction of a candidate, and their slogans, not their slogans, but their actual logo. Slogans are allowed within California. Propositions and measures also fall under this prohibition, and advocacy for any candidate or measure or proposition that is on the current ballot fall under this prohibition. Material that is not on the current ballot does not fall under this prohibition. Slogans do not fall under this prohibition. Please watch out when having material with slogans. They oftentimes do have a candidate's name referenced somewhere on the material. Question, Devin?
How many instances are we talking about? Have we gotten to the prosecution level yet?
So I will say that we have a great, and we have a lot of voters both dropping off our vote by mail ballot, our drop boxes, or interacting with the post office, and now coming into our in-person voting locations, either at my downtown office or at our vote centers, for which we're going to have 53 open beginning this Saturday. And just as we've had more people coming in, you're going to have more people that are excited about their candidates and wearing this material. And so we're trying to get ahead of that. It's just with a higher volume, we're seeing more folks.
Have there been any complaints so far? Or have your workers been instructed?
So we've been in communication with Mr. Coos and some of the issues that are going on. We actually had one case referred over to us. It's not a case that will be prosecuted because the facts don't necessarily rise to the level of a crime. But I think the most important thing to realize today is we're here to try to prevent this type of activity. We have the ability in Fresno to be different from the rest of the nation. We don't have to have the things that sometimes plague other communities because we do communicate, because we do have open communication, and we have a very diverse community. And, I think the thing that, that Sheriff Zanoni said, and also that Mr. Coos said, is that we really have to think, if we are voting for a country that we love, we're passionate about the candidates that we support, then isn't that really inherent in being respectful of other people? Because everyone, if we don't have the right to vote in the United States of America, it doesn't matter who you are, what party you are, if you're an independent, a Democrat, a Republican, then you don't believe in the foundation of the United States of America. So if you're a passionate voter, you also have to be understanding that other people have the right to have an opinion that's different from you. And, quite honestly, I'd like to just say one more thing, and I'm glad you brought this up, David, is we're anticipating that we're going to have no reports to review, because Fresno is a community where we are already taxed in law enforcement. James Coos and the Registrar of Voters have a lot of other things to worry about today and in the next 5 days than calling the DA or calling the sheriff or calling the police department. The sheriff's department has limited resources. The DA's office has limited resources. We have people out there committing violent crimes every day. This is not something that anyone in law enforcement should have to be involved in. So I'm just imploring people to be respectful, do the right thing, and be better than your anger or your passion, and let the election happen peacefully and respectfully.
Can you talk about how this applies within the context of the letters that were sent out to Democratic voters?
So my office has not received any information about any letters that have been sent out to any voters at this time. This does raise an opportunity for me to point out that if any voter has a concern about the process, if you see a sign or anything going on, if you are concerned about a Dropbox or any message that is out there, you need to give us a call. Our information is available. Toll-free line at 844-977-3, as well as resources online at our website, votefresnocounty.com. My office cannot respond or answer questions when we are not informed about anything that's going on.
Sure.
The U.S. Attorney's Office has designated what they call a district election officer, and it sounds like there's going to be a phone number on Tuesday where folks can reach out. How does the federal prosecution differ than potential county prosecution or any issues on election day?
So the county would handle any violations of California election codes. The U.S. Attorney's Office, I would imagine, would handle federal statutes, meaning that, if people put things in the mail, anything that goes into telecommunications or the U.S. mail, things like that, I'm sure that those would be federal issues, right? People doing fraud in the mail, those are all federal issues. what we'll do is what we normally do. If it's an incident that is the federal elements, comes to the police department, the sheriff's department, we would refer that over to the U.S. Attorney's Office. And the same with them. If they get information that would be more in line with a violation of the California Elections Code, they will refer it over to us for prosecution.
Now, for the drive-through, it's the same thing when cars show up, with signs and all that, how you guys would control it?
So Fresno County will have one drive-through drop-off location this election. It'll be on Election Day on Kern Street between L and M. So right outside in front of our downtown office at 2221 Kern Street. Yes, that is a voting location, just like any drop-off location or drop boxes. So there will be 100-foot area around it. All of our vote centers and our downtown office do have signs up showing the 100-foot radius around. And on election day, that radius will increase and be placed. So additional signage will be placed up so that the public will be aware of where the extent of that electioneering free zone is.
So the 100-foot radius also applies to drop boxes?
Yes, any area that voting activity is occurring. So any vote center, any polling place, any drop box, any official drop box. My downtown office, when we have a drive-through, any time that when we need to go out to a curbside distance, an opportunity that is now provided in Fresno County, signs available at each vote center. If a voter is unable to leave their car and needs assistance, we have a phone number that you can give us a call at any vote center and we can come out. At that point in time, yes, a temporary 100-foot bubble would extend around that voting action.
Have any voters been turned away because they were wearing election paraphernalia inside the vote center?
So we've had incidences and I have to say the vast majority of voters in Fresno County, they work with us. When we have seen that there's electioneering material and our workers have reached out to them, I've seen examples when I've been able to go out and visit our vote centers where the voters have worked with us so that the process is smooth and we're able to get through, and they have removed material or covered up electioneering material. When we ask that and someone does reject that process, if necessary, it will get to that point and a voter may be turned away. There has been one incident that I am aware of where a voter has been turned away because they have refused to remove that material.
James, do you worry or fear about any potential safety threat to your workers who have to enforce this?
This is one of the reasons why we're here today, to really get out that message. We need to be respectful for other voters and for our workers who are there to provide a service to you. We want to help you vote the way that you want to vote. That respect is earned. It is required. They are there. They are basically volunteers to provide a civil service to you at those voting locations. They are going to treat you respectfully and they're going to ask you kindly to remove this material so that we're not impeding other voters' rights. We ask that to continue there. And if there is an unfortunate situation where someone isn't polite, then we have our partners and we can reach out to them.
Do you anticipate to have more security during that week in all voting centers?
On election day, we will have security available throughout the county, but not necessarily at any specific voting center, because while we expect a busy day, we know that Fresno County is there to vote and focused on the voting process, and they're going to assist us. And so we're just here to remind everyone that there's this one little extra bit, but please be respectful.
Go ahead.
Sure. ABC earlier this week reported on a memo from the Department of Homeland Security's intelligence officer that went to law enforcement around the country. Is the Fresno County Sheriff's Office aware of any credible threats as it pertains to election voting here in Fresno County on Tuesday?
We are not aware of any credible threats here in Fresno County related to Tuesday's November 5th election at this time.
You mentioned, the 100-foot bubble applies to drop boxes, but, somebody just walking by, taking a material and driving by, is that considered a violation?
So technically, yes, but we're here to help folks vote. We're not going to be chasing after someone who's out there. If someone's going to come by, and as I mentioned earlier, audible campaigning is included. If someone is intentionally trying to disrupt the elections process, we're going to do what we need to do, and hopefully that's just a polite conversation. If we do need to reach out to our partners, we will do that.
And just a question about turnout. It's 25% right now. We're up at about this time 4 years ago, more than 30%. What do you think the difference is? Why turnout at this point higher 4 years ago?
Every election is unique. 4 years ago, we were in the middle of the COVID pandemic, and a lot of the turnout that we saw then was VBM, vote by mail ballots. How this election is going to be different, we just don't know. We're just going to have to see. There's so many differences about this election. We are very happy to see the high turnout and expect that to continue all the way through election day. But where we're going to end up at, we just don't know right now.
What are you going to do if someone pulls up the curbside assistance, can't get out of the vehicle, but has a political bumper sticker on the top?
In that situation, we're going to ask the vehicle to be outside of the 100-foot range of our voting location, and we will work with that voter there in that situation to receive and to process the voter away from other voters. We're in a situation, the voter vote quickly, efficiently, the way they want to vote without disruption from either my office or other voters. So be polite out there, be respectful. Thank you all.